I previously did a video about IVC filter litigation, but there have been some changes, and so I think an update is warranted. For those of you who don't know, IVC stands for inferior vena cava. That's a blood vessel in the human body. These filters are little wire things. The closest analogy I can think of is they look a lot like the thing that my mother used to have that you put on your head that like tickles and scratches your head. A bunch of wires like this with a handle on it. They look almost exactly like that. And what they do is they put those into the inferior vena cava, and it prevents blood clots that form somewhere else in your body from traveling through the inferior vena cava and doing bad things. Going way back, the green fill filter was probably the first of the IVC filters. What we've found that is happening with several manufacturers' products is the devices will either break or they can migrate. They can actually perforate the inferior vena cava and go into other structures in the body. And the other thing that's a potential problem with some of these devices is they are manufactured to be removable. And we're finding that when it's time to take them out, because they're only supposed to be temporary, you can't remove them. They've ingrown into the tissues, and it's more risk to the patient to remove the device than it is to leave it in place. The problem with the fractures is these things are like tiny little wires. And that's not a good thing to have in the middle of your body in a blood vessel. And they can migrate all over the place, the parts that have broken off. They've been found in the heart, they've been found in the lungs, they've been found in tissues outside of both of those structures. And they can cause a lot of damage. And it's a very significant challenge to remove these little tiny wires that break off from these things after they've broken off. One of the things that we've learned recently is that completely asymptomatic patients that they have one of these devices in them and they have absolutely no problems whatsoever, no pain, they wouldn't know that the device isn't perfectly well functioning, have gone down like a sack of potatoes, and they get worked up, and one of these broken off pieces is found somewhere remote in their body. And that's probably not an acute event. It probably had broken off at some time in the distant past, migrated way away from the site where it was implanted, and then it just starts causing problems. The other problem with these devices is for those patients who think they're temporary and they ultimately end up becoming permanent. We have a very young client. She's in her teens, early teens, who had to have one of these put in as a result of an automobile accident. It certainly was not intended to be permanent. It was intended to be completely temporary. Everybody's intent was to take this thing out after a certain period of time. And when that period of time came, they attempted to go remove it, and it had ingrown all over the place. It had perforated, and they've had multiple attempts to get the thing out without success. So here's this very young teenager with this thing in her body that's causing problems that they can't get out. So that's a significant problem. The major manufacturers, Bard, Cook, and Cordis. There's litigation going on against all three companies over these failed devices. It's going on in various courts all over the country, some in state court, some in federal court. Some of those have MDLs, some don't. Some are developing litigations, and some are a lot more mature. There's some trial dates in some of those cases. A lot of the lawyers representing these people are swapping experts, doing depositions, doing discovery. And so that litigation, those litigations against those various companies will be coming to a head probably in calendar year 2007. Most of the workup is occurring as we speak. And I see that my prediction would be you'll start seeing resolutions of the more mature litigations in 2017.